back to the Team Empire podcast, episode 46. I'm your host, Shannon. We have an exciting guest on today, someone who I got to compete with this year and I've just recently connected with. We have Christel de Klerk on the pod. How are you, honey?
Hi, I'm so good. Thank you so much for having me. This is really quite exciting.
I'm so excited to have you. And like I just told you before, there's been a lot of people that are like, yes, I can't wait for this pod. And a lot of people are excited to hear your story. So we're going to go into all the little details and stuff like that. But talk to us about what are you doing now? You're in Australia right now, having a working holiday. Tell us about that. Are you enjoying yourself?
Yeah, oh my goodness. Look, I thrive in the warmth, okay? It is so good. It is too good. I'm getting too settled. But it's just yeah, look, the cold in New Zealand, that's the thing about the preps in New Zealand is always during winter. And I'm like, it would be so much easier if it was here because you eat less when it's warm. So yeah, but I'm having a great time. The gyms is pretty amazing.
Yeah, then so it's like another level over there, right? But don't get too excited. We want you back here.
Yeah, I'm going back. Yeah, for sure.
But it's good you're having a good time. It's nice to take a little break after competing and especially having a few shows and stuff, which you did. We'll go into all of those. You competed, I think, 3 times this past year. Was it 3 times?
Yes, it was. The most I've ever done in a year usually is just like 2 shows. So it was different doing 3. I wasn't planning on doing 3. Okay.
And then she turned to Moes, and we'll go into that soon. But it was amazing. Let's start at the beginning, babe. So it's for people like myself and people that might not know your story. When did you start competing? What year was that? And how did you get into it in the beginning?
Right. Well, it's actually a bit of a story. I think it's probably a little bit different than most people how I started. So I think it might be helpful if I give a little bit of background of me, and because that just gives the context of bodybuilding. So I have a autoimmune condition and it's called ulcerative colitis. Now, a lot of people don't really know what ulcerative colitis is, but they do know Crohn's. Like, people seem to have heard of Crohn's a lot. It's very similar. It's just in a different location of the bowel, basically. And so for those that don't know, like a autoimmune is when your immune system, instead of like fighting off invaders and stuff, it basically turns on you and attacks your own body. So that's what I have. And like I got diagnosed in 2016. But after that, like, it was pretty bad, but I managed to kind of get the hang of it. Like, because I really went into gut health. I did like so much research, I did fasting and all sorts of protocols and kind of got on top of it from that. And it was really, really good. Like, I managed it. And then in 2020, the crazy year that was 2020, I had like the worst flare of my life. And I think it was probably just everything of that year as well, because it was a stressful year for everybody. And I've definitely discovered like that stress, it flares it in a big way. So had a huge flare in 2020. Like I weighed 43 kilograms and I was in hospital for like a week. And it was nuts, dude. Like, they were telling me that for somebody even like me, as young as what I am, I was at risk of getting a heart attack because that's how much like stress my body was under. So it was seriously nuts. But after I got out of that, and like, I was such a tiny little being, I had nothing to me. But after that, like, I still actually remember this day so vividly because I was at the gym. I was on a cross trainer, and like, I wasn't even really a gym goer. My husband has always been the gym goer, and I just kind of went with him. And I was just like, I just showed up, but I didn't actually did anything or really trained with purpose. So I was I was still on the cross trainer. I was just moving my body because I was in a pretty dark hole. Like, it was pretty terrible. Like, I was just feeling kind of lost, I suppose. So anyway, I was on that cross trainer and he just randomly walked over to me, and I don't know how he even got this thought, but he said to me, "Look, I really think that you should try bodybuilding. I think you should try a bikini show. And I think like the focus of that, to have something that would you can work toward really help you. And at the time, I was like, what? Because like, look at me. There's nothing to me. I do not have shape. I'm a stick. All right. I have nothing. And I was looking at these beautiful bikini girls, and like they've got this curve and a shape, and like they're gorgeous. I mean, they're a model. And I was just saying, like, how can I even look like that? How's that? But that year was also the year that Janet Leyu won the Bikini Olympia. And it was her structure that really inspired me, because she's kind of more like a skinnier look to her. And so I was also looking at like where she built herself up from, because she was quite a small girl and she also built her shape. And I was like looking at that and thinking, well, wait a minute, maybe I can, like, maybe there is something to being able to like literally build your body. So I started then. So that was at the end of 2020, and I did my very first show in May 2021. That was the Auckland Champs. And look, I just trained for that show with no expectation. It was just, let's do the show. Let's just like get out of this freaking dark ass hole that I am in, and let's just try and get there, try to get my body healthier and at a better, stronger state. And so at that show, I couldn't believe it. I actually couldn't believe it, because Jamie Wu won her pro card at that show, and I came second to her. And I'm like, what is happening? Because this is my first show. I was mind blown. Like, I couldn't believe it. It was insane. But that was so cool. And I had such a good time. Like, the prep was fun. Going to the gym with purpose was fun. And like the mental shift that started happening, just because I was like, oh, wait a minute, I'm accomplishing something, and my body is responding, and I'm feeling better, and I'm actually getting healthier. I got so hooked. I got addicted to the point now that I'm obsessed with it, and like probably like way too obsessed. But it's just, I got hooked. I got fully hooked. And now it's just all like that's kind of the thing that drives me still. It's just my body just seemed to really enjoy like gym and the food, because it's so clean and it's so structured. And the gym life as well, like you would know, it's such a stress relief. Like, it's just this happy place, this little sanctuary, and it just makes you feel really good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a really cool story. How's your health now? Like, that's like maybe 2 years on, or like 2.5 years on. How are you feeling now that you're that deep in it?
Well, it's a fine line. It's definitely a fine line. So at the moment, like, I still get, it still comes up. I still get flares. I'm on permanent like medication. I have to go to get infusions like every 8 weeks. And so I still have all of that stuff going on. And it's a very, very fine line of balancing, like because there's a dark side as well to bodybuilding that I found. And what I mean by that is like, there's all of this good that it did for me. But then, and I am sure a lot of people would also relate to this, when you do a prep and you go, you kind of unlock these sides of yourself that you never actually knew was there. Like, you really get to learn yourself. And I most definitely learned a lot about myself, and I still continue to kind of like unlock these sides that I'm like, wow, okay, I can do that. That's pretty damn cool. But one thing that I am is extremely stubborn, and I have a tendency to basically push my limits so hard and so far, because there's just this driving force that I'm like, I got to do this. Like, now that I know I have the opportunity, I'm like, I want to live this opportunity to its fullest. And because life is so fragile, and I know just like how easily basically everything can fall apart from like what has happened. So now I'm like, man, whatever I do, I have to do it to the fullest. But there's a limit to that, right? Like, you can only push so far. And I've definitely have had to learn very much the hard way that I have to push to a point, and I have to listen to my body and not push too far, because I have done that, and my body basically, like, I worked so hard that it just kind of blew up in my face, and I took about 3 months to recover from that because I went too ham. I went too far. So now I'm like, this year has definitely been a year where I'm like, okay, let's be reasonable, you know, let's work with logic and mindfulness and not just go crazy because you'll burn out.
Absolutely. And it's just about that balance, isn't it? But I think that's a good lesson for almost everyone because we'll all hit that level of burnout. But I guess you've just got a level of barrier that's just, you got to be a bit more careful with, I suppose, because you can't push it too much further. But
yeah, it comes with consequences.
Yeah, that's it. You don't want to be risking any further health. Bodybuilding is not important enough more than health.
No.
And
Right.
we agree on that, I'm sure. But I'm sure your coach is amazing. Who is your coach and how does that work with around your challenges that you might face more than maybe the normal person?
Yeah. Oh, look, at the moment, I'm kind of flying solo. Just because I'm in that space where I'm really trying to learn that mindfulness and really trying to learn what works with my body. Because I've got a very much, like I do what I'm told, and like I will, to the point, like blindly so, and that's a good thing, but it's also not always served me very well, and it's nobody else's fault. It's me that is complicated. So I'm like, okay, I just kind of am taking a little bit of time where I'm like, okay, let's figure out what works for me, and then I can take that information to somebody like, okay, this and this and this, I can't do this, I can't do that, but this does really, really work for me. Now, I will say I'm very, very lucky because my husband has been, like I mentioned, he's always been the gym goer. He's competed many, many times. He kind of knows, the jam, and he's got a freakishly good eye for bikini as well. Like it really amazes me. It's very helpful, very helpful. So he's seen where I've come from, and he's seen everything. So he is very in tune with like my body and what it can handle. So I'm very, very grateful to have him because it's super nice to have somebody like, so he's guiding me a lot as well for the moment. And yeah, so that's really cool. That's really, really cool. But we'll kind of see how the next year develops and like unfolds and where I go. At the moment, I'm kind of just on chill mode, cruise mode, setting my, because like health wise, it's kind of like it's simmering a little bit. So I'm trying to just be really careful. And then when my health is like when I feel ready and I'm like, okay, I can really put my foot down and I can really go into a good off season and a growth season. I'm like, right, let's look at all the options, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's good. And you know where you're at, like you've done this before, so you kind of know how you feel and when it's a good time, like you said, to put your foot down and go. And that's a really good thing to have. I think that's really strong piece of knowledge, Are you thinking about competing next year or are you just going to see how you go?
Well, I'm definitely wanting to compete next year. I've got some really big ambitions and drive to, like, I'm basically kind of I'm holding myself back because what I do want to go is like full head, full tilt, and just like pedal to the metal and get going. But I have to, with everything, like I said before, I'm really like, it's teaching me so much patience and being mindful and present. So I'm like, okay, let's just chill. Let's just be calm and give it like a month, But I would love to compete next year. I'm definitely I'm coming for, I have big goals for the year, Yeah.
And you're qualified, we both are, for nationals next year already, so we can even just chill for the season if we wanted to, or whatever, we have that luxury, which is the good part about Moes Muscles. I thought that was quite cool. So we'll see how you go, but your goal, I have a question, is to go pro one day. Is that what you want to do, and then maybe compete overseas? Is that kind of one of the ultimate goals for you?
Oh my goodness, so much. So yeah, I would love to do that. For me, like, now that you know kind of like how the whole story of why I'm doing bodybuilding or how that I fell into it, for me, it's like I fell in love with the process and everything about the sport. So getting the pro card is, although that is cool and that's like, that would be amazing, it's not the driving force, it's not the goal. Like you know, the end goal. To me, like getting the pro card is unlocking level 1, right? And then level 2 would be doing a first pro show, right? A level 3, try to win a pro show. And I mean, like all of these things could take years, right? Like it can take so long. So yeah, but I would really love to get my physique to the point where it's worthy of that card. Definitely, yeah.
So cool. I love it that you want to go fit, like, because a lot of people just say the pro card, right? And it's just like you want to look a little bit beyond that because it's only the stepping stone to the whole next level, and it's just like it just continues from there, and it gets
Oh
a
my
whole
gosh.
different, like ball game.
Yeah.
But did you see the girls compete in Hawaii, or did you get to see little bits of the content from that? And what did you reckon of the girls?
Oh my goodness, wasn't it incredible? Like I was literally sitting on like the edge of everything, trying to refresh and refresh and refresh, and like, oh my gosh, what happened? What happened? Where is everybody? And everything. Oh my goodness, it was so, and that's so many of them banded together to go as well.
Yeah.
Oh, I hope they do that again because there's so many other girls that still need to get in. Like Rochelle, I'm calling you out, girl. You got to do this. Come on now.
Next.
Yeah, right. But wow, and like it's such a massive congratulations to Kate. Wow, girl, the second, and she stood next to Ashley. I mean, and this is her first international show. How that is some way to kick off your pro career on it, like on an international way. Holy smokes, she's made some waves, and she deserved it. And she looks so beautiful.
Yeah.
But like, oh, beautiful presentation, beautiful everything, and every other girl as well. Like, man, they really put New Zealand on the map because they brought such a beautiful, each one of them, such a beautiful physique of just balance and beauty and grace and like showing themselves. I'm so proud of them because they brought it. They really brought it out.
Yeah, people will be shocked that that's coming out of New Zealand this year because it's been quite a quiet couple of years. You know, we've only had the odd one or two like popping around, which is great, but having 5 or 6 in one show and they all look freaking amazing. It's just,
yeah,
you can almost see Kate turning into the next Sheena or Katia or getting on the Olympia stage. You know, you can almost see that happening because it's been a few years now we've had a woman on the Olympia stage, so we're ready for another one.
Oh, we are. We so are. We so are. And I mean, I think all of us are probably just in such envy of Kate's glutes because like they're perfect. They're bloody perfect, woman. Well done. Seriously, well done.
Yeah, she built that body too, isn't she? She's quite a petite little stature, and she hasn't always had a tiny waist. She's done all of that, so it's just incredible. So good on all the girls. It's been amazing to watch. What is your career? What do you do for a job, and how do you balance everything with prep as well? Because that's always a bit of a juggle.
Right. Well, actually, so husband and I own our own company together. So we're self-employed, financial services and like insurances and stuff like that. So we work together. It's all online. And I'm very, very blessed with that because it gives me a lot of flexibility to kind of manage work and manage competing and structure my day in a way that benefits me. So, and I'm very grateful for the opportunity of doing that because I know like it's quite a struggle for a lot of people balancing it. Like it's crazy. You know what really amazes me is that how many nurses compete. It blows my mind.
And then sometimes too, and I'm like, how in the heck? Like,
I know. How?
People do it, and even Kate Carroll, like her days she puts up on Instagram. I'm like, I don't know how you guys do it, but yeah, we work from home. I work from home as well, so I guess we're a little bit more blessed. It's nice. We'll take the luxury, but we don't take it for granted.
No.
How was your South Island show this year? Well, obviously I missed that show because I'm in the North Island, but how was the South Island show? Did you enjoy that or have any highlights from that?
Yeah, look, that was a really, really fun show for me as well to do. I like because my feedback always has been that I come in really small, I come in really skinny, and I'm like, yeah, we'll figure. So that show was very much a trial run for me that I just wanted to try coming in a lot fuller than I previously have and basically kind of see, well, right, so you want me fuller, where's the line? Like how full do you want me? So the show, there was no expectation for crushers. I really just wanted to get feedback and apply that because there was like 6 weeks. Yeah, 6 weeks between Christchurch and Nationals. So I'm like, okay, plenty of time to go and implement that. And so that was, yeah, Christchurch, I kind of showed up at like 80% on purpose to try and like leave that room to really come in for what they wanted to see. But hey, it was such a fun show, and like Barbara just blew everybody out of the water as well. Like, holy smokes, did she bring it? Like, unbelievable, unbelievable. I almost have no words. She looked phenomenal. And I even, like, backstage, I even said to her, girl, you're gonna win. Like, this is yours. You've got this in a bag. You've got this. And I'm so glad that she did, because she's fully, man, fully deserved it. I'm very excited to see what she brings next year. Like, she's on a trajectory like crazy. Yeah.
Well, she almost got a pro card this year. She was, you know, it was just a tiny little split between her and Michelle. So that's crazy. And then Lily, who's only 20 years old, and then Rebecca, like, it's just mad. But we'll move into that, actually. How did you enjoy Nationals? Was Nationals fun? And it was obviously a big class for you. We can talk about that as well for Class C. But tell us about Nationals. Was it a good time? Was it a bit hectic? What was it like?
You know what? Nationals was probably the best show that I've ever done, in a sense as well. Yes, it was huge. Like, oh, it was huge. But the way it was run was like a well-oiled machine. It was like backstage, it was the best run show I've ever been to. And like, because Mark was the guy that kind of you know, the backstage marshal. And he was just, man, he was on top of it. Like, he yelled at the top of his lungs every time anybody needed to be anywhere. And it was so greatly appreciated because everybody heard him. No, and he was so super helpful. So it was a really, really, really good show. And it was so fun to see so many people there and so many new faces as well. Like, that's, to me, the most exciting thing as well. Like, you can really see the sport is starting to pick up. And new people are coming in, new young faces are coming in. Like, how big are these classes getting? Like, it's so good. Oh,
Exciting, it's fun. And that wasn't even all of our bikini girls. Like, we've got more that took the year off and things like that as well. And I'm like, oh my goodness, if everyone had turned up, this would just be like, we'd be here all day trying to pick the winners and things like that. But was it fun going up against, because Barbara's in your class, Rochelle was in your class? What was that like to be back in?
Oh, well, yeah, look, I went into the show knowing that the competition is stacked, and that's what you want as well, right? Like, you just, it was really, really cool. It was an honor. That's all I can say. It was an honor to compete next to these girls, because they bring an unbelievable physique, and Rochelle winning is also, there's no surprises. Like, look at her, you know, it's just, she's magnificent, right? So you're like, oh, of course. So congratulations to her and getting her card. It was well deserved. She and Sheena, they've brought a beautiful bikini physique. It was, and I'm also very, very excited to see what's on the cards for her next and what she's gonna do next. Like, she can go so far, and I'm sure the two of them are cooking something really, really cool. But yeah, like, being like in my class alone, there was 17 girls in just Class C. Like, how insane is that, right?
I don't even know how they managed to get you all on the stage for a while.
Oh, no, like, literally, yeah. It was weird, but in a good way, because they're like, you know, you're really shoving kind of into each other, and you're like, it's a different experience. But I really appreciated that, because, you know, if by some miracle one day we get into an international stage, that's kind of what I imagine it will be like, because there's so many more girls. So you're like, okay, you're kind of getting a taste of it, you know?
It's the vibe, because it's like Olympia, they're all like double lined up, isn't it? So it's kind of
exactly.
Yeah.
Something that I also really loved about Nationals is backstage. It was so calm, so calm. Like, people were just hanging out. There was a really good vibe and like a uplifted, happy vibe. It was just like people were just chilling, and it's almost as well like there's now, like, people know each other. Like, you know, there's a good community going. So people were kind of like just hanging out with familiar faces, and then the newbies, they were kind of, you know, going into a group or something, and they were, you know, being welcomed in, and it was really quite fun to see that. So it was nice to see how the sport is developing and growing, and it's becoming more and more popular, and that kind of environment is developing.
It's nice, hey, and I'm going to
Yeah.
ask you about this as well, but the camaraderie backstage, everyone always wants to know what it's like, and it can be different, like different shows, I'm sure, as well. And I've done just Waikatos and Moes, so I've only got the two vibes, but has it changed over since you've been competing? Or is it just a little bit different per show? It just depends on what kind of the vibe is on the day.
100%, and 100%, because like Moes Muscles, backstage it was super chill. It was also very happy. Like, it was quite cool how all the bikini girls came together and started taking photos together. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Like, how fun. But it was also quite a happy vibe, but a lot chiller because it was a smaller show, right? So like, it was quite calm, and it was nice because everybody had like lots of space as well. But yeah, it definitely depends on the show. But for me, I tend to be, I don't know, I tend to be a little bubbly kind of person. I'm either like really by myself and just like in my little corner, and it really depends on how nervous I am, and I'm just like either there freaking out, or I'm the complete extreme opposite where I won't shut up and I'm like out to everybody.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. It's hard not to, because everyone's excited and everyone's all pumped up and ready to go. And it's just kind of like, it's nice to have a chat and stuff like that. And it was good at Moe's with all the girls getting together for photos and just being really just excited to be there. What made you decide to do Moe's? What was like the little deciding factor to jump into that one?
Oh, I honestly had no intention of even doing it. When did I decide to do it? I think it was on the Tuesday.
Mm.
Yeah, I think it was on a Tuesday that I actually decided, oh, well, let's just do it.
Yeah.
Because we were in Auckland in anyway over that weekend. And I was just looking at it, and again, it was my husband that convinced me to do it because I didn't want to. I was over it. I was like, I'm done with prep now. I want to go and have my bagel.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he was just like, voice of reason and logic. He was saying to me, look, if you're already here, you're already lean, you're prepped, the show is there. Like, we don't have to spend any more. Just like hang in for a couple of more days, like 4 more days, and then just do the show. And then you're qualified for next year. And you can just go into cruise control and have like a really, really long off season and make all of the improvements you want to make and not worry about having to do a pre-show to nationals. I'm like, oh, well, I can't really argue with that now, can I?
Well, you make some good points.
Like, damn you.
Love it. And you're such a like, I keep hearing it now, you're such a threat, like you're such a like you're coming up and you're coming for it. And everyone, I was telling you this before we jumped on recording, but you've got a lot of fans and everyone's got your back. I've not heard a bad thing about you at all. And Rachel Mead and I were backstage at Moe's, and we didn't know who was competing, and then we both saw you and we both looked at each other and we were both like, all right, we're going for second and third, babe.
Oh my gosh, no.
We knew it. We were like, Christel's got it. And we were so happy when you did get it. And also, just like I mentioned before, I was watching Troy Thornton's story, and he also called you out on his story. He was like, the girl, the blonde and the red, her number was this. At Nationals, he's like, she's going to become pro. I've got my eyes on her. And it's just really cool that you've got everyone's watching, and hopefully there's no pressure onto your plate or anything like that. But you have so much potential, and everyone can see that you've just got the bikini physique. It's just so good, and I love it. What are you building on at the moment in your physique, or are you just fine-tuning bits and pieces? Because there's always something to work on, right?
Yeah, always right. Well, thank you. Honestly, I'm blushing. That's so nice. Like, I never see myself in that way at all, because I'm always like, look, there's so much work to be done, and I'm over here and I look at these other girls and they're like over there, and there's so much room for improvement. So I'm always like, oh, I try my best. But for me, what I'm working on this off season, look, size, because again, like my feedback is always, you're on the small side, you kind of have to build up a little bit. So I'm definitely just trying to expand. But specifically what I'm targeting is just, I want to grow some glutes. Of course, shocker that a bikini girl wants to grow glutes. Wow, But yeah, so we're working on glutes. I need some more quad, I just need a little bit more definition. but then obviously it's also doing all of that while keeping the symmetry with the rest of the body. So I'm like, for me, again, like my upper body, I can get quite jacked in my shoulders. And I think, I don't, maybe it's because I'm like a farm girl or something back in the day. I don't know, but I'm like, oh, upper body is there. And I'm like, oh, come on, glutes, come on, just project outwards, please.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just touching up the upper body. You're going to keep the delts there, but if you grow quite quickly, you won't really need to do much to the top.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you enjoy
Exactly.
it? Do you like the cutting phase or the building phase? Like, do you have a preference on prep, which bit you like the most?
Oh my goodness. Cutting phase 100% through and through. And like, do people actually they enjoy the building phase? I don't know. Is there people that enjoy the building phase?
I like eating too much. I just
Do
love
you?
Yeah, and I love feeling strong.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that part.
True. Yes. Okay. I'll give you that, like actually having that energy 100%. But like the eating, it's because you have to eat so much. Like it
Yeah.
gets to the point where you're like, literally, I'm eating all day long. I don't want food anymore. And I think that's what it is. It just gets to me. It's just like, because I mean, not this season, like last year when I did my off season, I just remember now, again, put that in a context of like where I come from, being such a small girl. And like before competing, my average weight would be 46, I suppose, like 47, around like under 50. So always a petite girl, always a small kind of, and which doesn't eat that much. And then in my off season in 2020, I guess, I ended up eating like 3,000 calories a day, and that is of clean food. That is a lot. Like I literally had to wake up, make sure that I start my day at a certain time to make sure that I get all of my meals in for that day, because otherwise, like, you're not going to eat it all. And I'm like, this is horrible. This is freaking misery.
It's easier to do 3 small meals, isn't it?
It is, and it's cheaper too.
Yeah, that's another big thing. Yeah, build is expensive. People don't think about the cost of it, and it's just like, oh my gosh, it's adding up. Why? And it's like, well, you're eating double, So, oh my gosh, it's all part of it.
And it's kind of unfair that clean food is that expensive too. And you're like, listen, I'm trying to be good here. Don't punish me for eating broccoli.
Please, come on. I know it's nice, and it's not great through inflation or anything, but you got to have a passion for it. Otherwise, it won't happen, will it? But did you watch Olympia? What did you think of Olympia? And who's your favorite in the top sort of like 5 or 10? Do you have a favorite?
Oh, because I love all of them for such different reasons. It's so hard to say. I sadly didn't like watch the Olympia live this year. Just because our Wi-Fi at the time where we were was just, and I didn't want to spend that much for the pay-per-view and not know if my Wi-Fi is going to work. And I'm like, but I actually like last year, 2020, I constantly have to think what year we were in. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Right. We were very, very lucky enough to go to the Olympia. So we were like in Vegas and we watched the whole show, and there's nothing like it on planet Earth. Like what you see online is 1% of what it actually is. It's so worth it. It's the most incredible. And like seeing the people in the flesh as well, you just really, you get an appreciation for how absolutely incredible they are. And like with their level and like your level, right? You're like, I am so humbled.
It's motivating.
Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing. But okay, favorites of the top 10. Man, I really did Phoebe place top 10? I know she was 11th.
She was 11 though, yeah. I love Phoebe Hagen.
I know. It's like because she looks so good.
She'll get there. She'll get there one day.
Yeah. Because like last year, was it 7th or 6th that she was last year?
I think it was 7th for some reason, but she was around there. Yeah, it
was 7th because Amy was 6.
Amy was 6. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So I'm like, But I really, really like Phoebe. It was quite exciting to see Amy through this year as well, and just kind of like how well she's been doing and everything. So that was super cool. I'm surprised like that Jennifer won. But not because like she doesn't look good. I mean, she looks phenomenal. But like because I thought that Marine, because when I saw the top three, I thought Marine would have it in the bag again. Although like Ashley is so balanced now as well, like so balanced, but I just had the feeling, or I just thought Marine, only because when you look at Jennifer in her back pose, her one glute is different to the other glute, and I'm like, there's some, asymmetry going on. And I don't know, is it just the way she was posing? Because she did the exact same thing last year as well. And then Marine was like, she's posing so perfectly, like so symmetrically, everything is in such perfect balance. And it was only because of that I was like, oh, okay, Marine will probably have it again. But Jen took it home, and I'm like, but she looks incredible, and you can see the difference, the progression that she's made as well. But I feel like everybody probably had Lauralee winning, didn't they? Like everyone kind of like they were rooting for Lauralee.
Yeah. What do you think of Lauralee and just like her physique and stuff? What do you reckon?
Look, it's again, I mean, her glutes is to the moon. It's unbelievable, right? It's just insane. And I wish, like I wish, but then with that comes the thing, like you have to be symmetrical. Like bikini is about balance, top to bottom, back to front, the whole thing. So although it's impressive and you're like, wow, like look at that, it's impressive, but it's standing out almost too much. And so I think that's probably it's just my opinion of like maybe that's what's going on and counting against her a little bit. Because like the top three and then Lauralee, right?
Yeah.
It's so different.
It's very different when they did the 4 and then Lauralee was doing it in the back pose. It was just like she didn't look like she fit in that lineup, which is just, she looks amazing, but it's just not the same. It's just completely different, right?
Exactly.
And they wanted to bring back that she was in the Arnold 2022, I think, and she won that one. It's 2022. And they wanted to bring back that package, and she's just kind of just not quite back to that like same sort of package she had back then. But I think she'll do it. She's too like stubborn. Do you know? Like she's too
100%.
determined. She'll have to do it one day.
Oh, she will. Like we all know she is going to get it. Like this one time, she's going to bring that Arnold package and she's going to copy that and she's going to go paste it into the Olympia one. And they're like, okay, well, done. There you go.
Oh, done. Take your credit money. You deserve that.
Exactly. Everybody go home. It's over.
So, yeah, game over. She'll be back next year, do it again. And Ashley Kay looks a lot different now too. Hey, have you seen her over the years? She's growing quite a lot. Her glutes look different. It's cool to watch like these sort of like veteran Olympians keep going.
Right?
Yeah.
She just doesn't stop. And I think that's the most admirable thing as well, is of everybody, like all of the Olympians over the years, she's the longest standing in a sense as well, like constantly morphing her body to match. And what's amazing about that as well is like when you look at her physique, it's also a very, very unique, that's Ashley. Nobody looks like Ashley. But despite that, she is constantly in the top mix there, right? So she just has her mixture, her recipe that works for Ashley. She just has this dialed in so well, and they love it for her, so that's very admirable. And I just would love one day to figure out how she can compete that much and keep going and not burn out, because like we do a prep and do like a couple of shows and we're like, I need a year. And the girl like does Hawaii and now she's in Japan. I'm like,
crazy. Yeah. Well done. It's mental, right? And she doesn't really get her calories up to an off season. I follow her podcast and she doesn't really go up to like, a surplus calories ever really. She's just always around maintenance or shred. And I'm like, how does she, and she's won like 47 pro shows or something crazy, and like she's the gatekeeper of Olympia because she takes everyone's invites and like
I know. I mean, I love her to death, but like, come on, Kate could have gone. Kate had it. Like, I was like, oh.
Like, but you have to love her for it because she's making people work for that. You want to do you have to beat me, like kind of that kind of attitude. I kind of like that. It's kind of like, you know, I like it. It's competitive. It's fun. It's fun.
100%. Like, and then otherwise, why are we doing it? Like, it's not an easy, just a given, like, and bikini as well, being so subjective as it is, and so like, well, today we like you and tomorrow we don't. Like, it's just the way the cookie crumbles, right? You just have to keep showing up. And I think like we all can somehow learn to just like keep showing up like Ashley does, you know?
Take a little bit of Ashley and then we'll run with it and see what we can do. Talk to me about the nerves on stage, because my first 2 shows were terrible. I was so terrified. And it doesn't matter how confident you are at the start, as soon as you walk out, myself and a lot of the girls, we all shake, our legs shake. Does it happen to you as well? And does it get easier with each show? Do you feel like the nerves kind of go away a little bit more each time?
You know, I feel my heart pounding in my throat every single time I'm out on stage. Sometimes I'm smiling and I feel like my smile shakes. And I'm like, thank goodness you can never see it, because like when I look at videos, you can never see it. But I literally feel like I'm standing there and I'm like this, and I'm like, okay, I probably look crazy. But you know, like, so Moes Muscles has now been my 7th show that I've done. And I still get nervous, and I think you never stop getting nervous, because even like when you listen to Ashley, she still says like there's no such thing as an easy show, you know. And like that really speaks to me as well. Like it's a good thing to be nervous, like, because it keeps you on your toes, right? It keeps you awake, it keeps you going. I've like developed a little routine for myself when it comes to show. Every prep, I basically, if I find very inspirational things that really speak to me, I put it in like my little notes folder that I have for pre-show reminders. And I try to make a point of reading that, leading like the week, you know, peak week, and then the day of the show, to just mentally center myself. And some of the things that's in there is, you know, everybody is nervous, everybody is scared, nobody knows what they're doing. But the reality is, like, you've done all the work. You know, being scared and nervous right now before you step on stage is not actually going to change how you look on stage. So just let it, like, just release it, breathe, like actually just take a really deep breath and start having fun, and try to take note of everything as it's happening. Because I mean, we all know peak week, you feel miserable, but it's only a few days and then it's all over. So like, try to notice that, oh my goodness, I actually look pretty freaking amazing. Like, holy crap, look at me. Like, just take note of that, appreciate that you got to that point, and then take note of like what's happening on stage. Like, try to soak in getting your makeup done or doing your hair and then looking really good and taking the photo and laughing with somebody and having that moment, because it's so fast and then it's all gone. So like, that's why I just try to like focus and just try to be present with it and start enjoying it rather than freaking out, and then everything rushes by, and then afterwards you're just standing there with regret and like, oh well, I can't even remember what happened because I was too bloody scared. You know,
it's true.
Yeah. And like, I also try to tell myself, like, when I'm standing backstage right before I'm about to walk out on that stage, like and you feel your heart pounding away, and you're like, your sweaty hands, and you're like I try to tell myself, look, all you got to do is muster 30 seconds of courage, right? You can do 30 seconds. What's 30 seconds? That's nothing. So just like, you know, just hold yourself together. You've got this. Bum up, chest up, smile, and walk, and don't trip.
It is short, isn't it? So you do, I like that. Just be present and try to enjoy it, because it's over before you know it. It's so quick before you're off stage, things over. It's like done.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Isn't it ridiculous if you actually think about it that way? Because how long do we prep for? Literally like a minute on stage, and then your comparisons and everything. But it's like literally, I mean, maximum 20 minutes of showtime that you're on stage all up. And you're like, why do I do this?
Crazy. You have to enjoy the prep, otherwise you can't just do it just for the show, because you have to enjoy the whole process, right? Otherwise it just won't happen.
Yeah, right,
Yeah,
right.
100%. But yeah, no, I love that advice. And I think a lot of people, even first timers, can take that on board for the next season. You know, they're going to be like, oh, what do I do? Just try to be present, enjoy the moment, and just have fun. Have fun with it. It's exciting.
Yeah.
It's a great time. You know, it's great when once you get up there, you're like, yeah, well, kind of like terrified, but also like, I did it. So it's really fun. So just
Yeah,
go, you know,
it is. You did do it. Like
you got all the way
just
there.
having, yeah, it's, if you really like go and look at it objectively, not a lot of people are even, and I don't mean that in like, oh, look at us kind of thing. But like this, the percentage of people in the world that competes is very small. Like it's very small. And you are one of them that actually like you pulled your stuff together and you got yourself there and you somehow survived.
Yeah.
And you're showing up looking the best you ever have in your life. That is pretty damn amazing. Like, just take a moment and soak that in, right? Like, yeah, that's amazing.
You're allowed to take a bit of credit at the end of all that work, right? You don't feel bad doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You enjoyed Moes Muscles. It was the first show of its kind. You won the overalls. Was that your first win for overalls? And did you enjoy the whole show?
Oh yeah. Yes, it was my first ever win. So it's so cool to like have a win in the bag. Like that's, man, it really felt amazing. Especially since I was like, I'm just doing it because I'm told to do it, kind of. Not really. I did it because I wanted to, but I was suggested to do it.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, look, it was very, very cool. And I'm so super grateful to have gotten that, being the first of it as well. Like it's really quite special. So I just have so much gratitude for it. It's pretty amazing. And yeah, look, the show it was fun. Like it was just because it felt like a very cruisy show because it was smaller. And so everyone was it was well organized. Everyone was just there everyone knew what to do because you can't really get too lost. Yeah. So, and it went so fast too. Like it just felt like it was all just up and down and then,
Yeah, 100%. Congrats on that win. That was amazing. And it was just
Thank
really
you.
fun to be around like pro guys as well, right? Because it was more about the males for the show. Like it was a pro show and the AM show, but it was cool to be around them as well, and just a little bit like kind of motivating to see how they worked with their coaches and just to see their physique. It was pretty amazing, right?
Did you notice at all, because it felt like the amateurs they were all like super cruisy and super chatty and like, having a time of their lives. But then you looked over to the guys and they were just like so focused and so in a zone. And they were like, yeah, man.
Oil on and like having like honey and like whatever they were doing. I don't know. It's crazy. But they were in the zone, right?
Yeah. So much. It was interesting. Like in some way, it seemed like the guys were almost more nervous than the rest of us.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was just me, but I was like, we're all just having a great old time.
Yeah. They're like in Olympia qualifications on the line, and we're like, oh, just last the year, it's still fine. But no, it's cool to be amongst it and just be around Olympia invites and stuff. It's just cool to be amongst a pro show. I always think that's really fun. I'm excited to see what they bring in that calendar as well for next year.
That's right.
I can't wait. It should be exciting. But what do you think? You'll look at the calendar and maybe just have a little play around with what you might want to do and just see how it looks, or like, do you think you might do a regional show if you're feeling up for it, or you might think you just go through to nationals because you're already qualified?
Well, truthfully, obviously I'm gonna have a look at I'm gonna do the off season and we're gonna like let the body do what it wants to do, and then when grow as much as what we can, with what we can in a year, and then when prep starts. So the goal is to just go to nationals and just do and like show up at 100% for nationals. However, I do like to compete. I do like getting up on stage. And there's also a lot to be said for doing a show to kind of like dust off the whips, and warm up to it. And then you're like, okay, I know what I'm doing now. Like I'm in the groove. Let's just, now we've like dialed it in. Let's just step up there and like get it done. Right. So we shall see. We shall see how the year develops. What about you? Do you think like you're do you feel the same, that you're like, oh, let's just see?
Same as you. The only reason I'd get up in a regional show is to dust the nerves off and do my posing routine. It's not for my physique. It'll be more going for nationals with the physique. So, but
Yeah.
I'm like you. I want to just compete and just to be on stage and see what it's like. And I went to Tournament of Champs this year, and it was a great show. So it'd be kind of cool to be there and be a part of that as well. Even just watching it was amazing. So who knows? We'll see. And I hope they're going to put a pro show in there. I've got a sneaky feeling they're going to put a pro show in there.
I feel like they would.
Yeah.
I know, I have that feeling too. Like it feels right.
Yeah.
I don't know if it feels right because we want it to.
Yeah, we want it.
Yeah.
But,
but like that tournament of Gems, like I haven't been, but the amount of good things that I've heard about that show, it's like a little bucket list show for me. I kind of want to do it because it sounds like it's so much fun. And like, I'm like, oh, I don't know. We shall see. Maybe.
Yeah, it's just cool. The way Shane runs it is just awesome. Like the medals are different, and everyone gets a little pack to take home. And the venue is beautiful. It's just like it's just kind of cool like that. But who knows? We've always got all the time in the world. You might be a pro next year, so you won't have a chance. And then who would know? We don't know what's going to happen. So, but we'll see what happens when the calendar comes out. What is your training like? Are you like a heavy lifter all the time? What is your training like on a daily? What kind of split do you have and stuff like that?
Right. Well, that's a good question. So at the moment I'm training lower 3 times a week. And that's pretty much split. So 2 days is more glute and ham focused with some quads, and then 1 day is more quad focused with some glutes and hams, right? But like legs is legs, you're still going to hit everything no matter what you do anyway. But it's like I try to kind of focus specifically a little bit. Obviously, like for what I said earlier, is just trying to bring up, channel my inner Lorelei. But and then upper, a back day, and then a shoulder day, right? So I try to have 2 rest days, but it is a moving thing. Like if I feel like I don't need 2 rest days, then I'll train. But if my body feels like, okay, listen, you need more than 2 rest days, then I will. Just trying to be good. But I really mix it up. Like, yes, I have really heavy movements that I try to beat, the previous week and do all of that stuff. But then I also have movements where it's not about the weight for me. It's about like really just being time under tension and really burning it out and feeling the contraction. As an example, like glute kickbacks. It's not about heavy weight for me there, because if I go heavy, it's all in my lower back, and my lower back is super, super dominant already. So I'm like, okay, we've learned, let's pull that back and let's not be ego about it, and just, like really feel the actual muscle moving there, get the pump going in, and then from there go on and do a heavier compound type of thing. So yeah, I have a little bit of a mix of everything. And I'm also going through, now that I'm like a little bit solo, I'm kind of going through a phase where I'm really mindfully testing all of the exercises and like, okay, do I actually really feel this movement the way I need to feel it? Like, does it work for my body? And I'm going through the phase of just structuring my workouts with the exercises that I'm like, man, this is fire. Like, this is magic. This is a jam. So, and I have to say, like, it's so exciting and it's so satisfying, because I'm just tweaking it to perfection in a way. And yeah, it's like just a cool thing to do. And it really helps to be here with the cool gyms and the cool equipment. And I'm like, oh, I'm like a little kid in a candy store,
These gyms to try and so much equipment, and it's so exciting.
Yeah.
And your partner trains and stuff too. Does he compete? What does he do?
Yeah. So he competes as well. We'll hopefully see him on stage next year. I'm like, come on, you got to do this. So yeah, like he and he trains a lot with me as well. And that's quite fun. Like, it's really fun to push each other and have some fun in the gym together as well. Obviously not every day, because like I don't train chest. Yeah. But like, yeah, so that's quite cool to do that together. I am grateful that we can share the journey together and that we're on the same page, because he pretty much eats the same stuff as me anyway, so it really does help. And it helps to have a partner that understands I'm not, I'm not gonna go out to date night and have cheesecake or whatever, so yeah, I'm super grateful for him for that.
What a
Yeah.
team. That's so cool. What about cardio? Are you a Stairmaster girl? Are you one of the ones that are on the Stairmaster all prep, or do you do cardio? Do you do it in the off season? What do you do with your cardio?
I'm a typical bikini girl. I'm always in the Stairmaster.
We're all the same.
Oh my gosh, I know. It's a love-hate relationship. I think we all have with that thing. I swear Satan himself invented that machine.
Yeah. It's
Oh
yeah.
man. Yeah, so like definitely I use that one during my prep a lot. Right now I'm like doing 20 minutes a day kind of stuff. Twice a week when I have my rest day, I'll go for a nice long walk, minimum of 40 minutes, and just, keep the activity going on. But yeah, like definitely keep the cardio going in the off season as well, but not like it's more for the benefits of it rather than because you want to scale it down, obviously, so that you can use it as a tool during prep, right?
For sure.
Yeah.
That's it. So it's keeping it in there and just keeping it there for health as well. And just, yeah, all those good reasons. Cardio is good. It's not terrible. It's just terrible when you're on the Stairmaster for like an hour or something. It's the worst, but it works. I mean, it does the job. That's why we all do it. Talk to me about reverse dieting, because obviously we're both going through sort of maybe the end of that now because it's been a few weeks, but this is my first time reverse dieting. It's obviously hard for everyone, and I'm definitely cleaning, like it cleans up over time, and I haven't put on too much weight and stuff like that, so I guess I've been a little bit lucky, but it is tricky and a lot of people struggle with it. It seems to be like the hardest part for most people. How do
Yeah.
you get through your reverse? Have you found any like some tips that have worked for you along the way and things like that?
Yeah. Well, definitely the first tip is that, the more you do it, the more you know what to expect. Like you actually kind of gain that mental, like, okay, you know what's coming, so you're more prepared, right? Um, and that makes a big difference because your mental, how you approach something makes all the difference. Now, so that's number one. And then two, for me, it's just maintaining the structure that you would during prep. So you have your meals, and you usually typically would have those meals at very specific times because we all know how this goes. Like it's 2 o'clock, I gotta eat. I'm hungry. I'm starving. It's very, very helpful to maintain those meals. And so that in between the meals, we're all hungry, but then you're kind of like, you can tell yourself, okay, look, it's an hour till lunch. I can hang on for an hour. Let's just like, scull our water. And then we'll be fine, right? So I find that helpful is just keeping that structure, because it's super easy to kind of like lose the structure as well. And you're already craving, but then you get overly like extra hungry because you're skipping a meal, or you're doing the opposite where you're grazing all the time. And then you're like, well, the calories that you would have had in just like your 4 or 5 meals, you're like have doubled that because, you're just snacking all the time. And I get it. I am super hungry as well post show. Like you're raging. You're like a Hoover. You're just like, give it all. Right? So it is hard, but it's like, keep that structure, literally keep that structure, and go and eat. Try to have at least, I firmly believe that you should have the treats, like you should have yummy things, you deserve it, like seriously. But along with them, go and have your full normal meal, like have your sweet potato, have your chicken or whatever it is that you normally have with your steak, and have your rice, and have like a lot of vegetables with that, so that meal can fill you up and you can feel satisfied with that meal. I find that very, very helpful, instead of going and having, I don't know, 2 bagels. They're really, really yum, but it's like your body almost like eats it up so fast that you get up super hungry again. Whereas you go and eat those kind of preppy type meals, like it's just like your body understands, like, okay, yeah, this feels good. I know what to do with this food, right? So that's just something that I found super helpful. Is definitely, yeah, keep going with the prep meals. Try to eat the fish.
Yeah, it's probably good to maybe like everyone thinks the end date is show day, but actually like telling yourself that prep doesn't finish until maybe a few weeks after show, like try to keep yourself in that mindset so you're prepared for it at the time, instead of being like, show day's done, everything's over, fire the coach, get rid of everyone, and then just off you go. But another thing I've kind of, that's helped me a little bit, is to remember that the treats are always going to be there. They're not going to go anywhere. It's not like you go back onto prep next week and that's that, you don't get any more. It's like they're going to be there and you can still have them every week and whatever, but just not every day, because they're not going anywhere. So
that's it.
It's just like you have them because you haven't had them for so long, and then you just get into that, I need them because I haven't had them and someone's going to take them away from me kind of mindset. You know? I felt like that kind of got me for a little while.
100%. 100%. Yeah, it definitely is. And then it goes from that, where you're like, okay, I'm just going to have it now because in case I don't have it again. And then it morphs into, well, it's just a habit now, right? And now you're just used to eating it all the time. So it becomes the slippery slope where you're just like, it's super easy to go to the other side. And then you have to go and pull yourself out from there and go and establish your habit again of like what you've been doing. So yeah, that's where keeping that structure is super helpful. And then that mindset, like, hey, you know, you can have them at any time. It's okay. Like it's
they're not going anywhere. You can always go to the supermarket, they're going to be in there and then their little spot, but just cut it down a little bit more. Easier said than done, isn't it? Practice, I guess, makes perfect sometimes.
Well, yeah. And then there's also the things like don't keep stack loads of it in the house, because we will eat them. Like you don't have the self-control. You just don't. Nobody does. Just don't buy it. And if you do buy it, like just buy a reasonable amount.
Because I think everyone does that first show, and I think maybe first show do it, but second, third show you should probably know better by then. But like keeping the little treat box, I think the only things that you should kind of say, the things that like are limited, like you can't get them when maybe show is finished, it's Christmas time and you want one of those, like, but everything else is going to be available later anyway, so save your money, save your time, and save the cravings. Oh my gosh, I won't be doing that again. They were in the house and I was like, oh my god, I want to eat them all. But just little tips around reversing, because I feel like it's definitely the hardest bit. I feel like most people say that, don't they?
It is. It definitely is, because post show you're also tired, like you're also just worn out, right? And you just don't, can't be asked anymore. Like, and it's also that really weird little window post show where you don't know where on what planet you exist, and you don't know what to do with yourself, because you're like, well, I don't have to do an hour of cardio and I don't have to train, but I still kind of am in the routine where like I feel like I should. And you're just, and it's just this really weird little place. And then once you get through that, you start to find your normal again. And I think it's also like being aware, like that is coming, you know, you are going to feel that, and then just kind of sit with it a little bit and let it be and just give it a little time, and it works out. Like give it a couple of weeks and you're going to be sweet. Like you work through it, right?
I totally think that's a good point, just to be prepared for anything, and keep your coach longer if you need them, I guess, as well, you know, like, because they'll keep you accountable. They'll keep you on track. Should we play a little game of this or that?
Yeah, let's do it.
Fine. See what you're into. Squats or hip thrusts?
That is such a good one. Oh, because I hate squats and I prefer hip thrusts, but squats are like more of an overall. They work more things, where hip thrust is more targeted. So I'm going to pick squats because you can get more done with them, but they're awful and I freaking hate them.
Same, they're too scary, but they're great. Practical. What about shoulders or back day?
Back day. Every day. I love back day because you can go ham with it. Like you feel like you can just like really lift kind of heavy stuff, and you're like, yeah, man. It just feels so good
too. Hey, like lots of movements for your back, so it's kind of fun. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And like, and if you can do a body weight pull up, I mean, it's just like this little badge of honor, and you're like, yeah, I can do that.
Yeah. And it looks good when you've got a pump on. It's all these things. We love a back day.
100%.
What about sweet or savory for post-show treats?
Oh, again, it's such a good one because I love both.
Yeah.
I always go for sushi post-show. Like every time. So I'm gonna say savory because it's divine. Like I crave sushi every time. And then I crave the sweet stuff. But like, okay, I'll say savory because yeah.
Savory first, then we go sweet after.
Ah.
Jen, Dory, or Maureen? We kind of answered this one earlier, but who's your favorite out of those two?
Physique wise, so I did say that I thought that Maureen would have it, but physique wise, in of like bikini shape, I actually prefer Jen, like just her structure. And I even like as well, apart from the back like pose that I'm like, oh, what is going on there? But apart from that, her front pose, she's even like made that better, even if that was possible, being a top, you can see how she made that better as well. Like her front, kind of not the leg that is bent, but the straight leg, she used to almost hyperextend it a little bit. And she kind of corrected that and it's a bit more straight. And then her physique, the flow of it, it's just like, so yeah, I do prefer like just the structure. Yeah.
She's top. Oh, I just love it. Such a great little tweak that she did there. Winter prep or summer prep? I think I know the answer. But
summer prep, 100%. Yeah. I wish we could do a summer prep in New Zealand.
Cold, isn't it, in winter? But summer's got our Christmas and stuff like that. Would that throw you off or not really? You're okay with holidays?
I'm actually okay with holidays. And the reason for that is kind of because I have to be. So with the disease and everything, like I can't actually go ham and just eat nonsense all the time anyway, because it will flare. So whether I like it or not, I have to live the bodybuilding life. Even if I don't compete, like I have to do it anyway. So it's become a normal way of life for me. Yeah, so it's just what I have to do now.
So summer, one, don't have to be freezing doing your cardio. I totally agree with that.
Yeah. And eating salads wouldn't be so hard.
Yeah, exactly. Before we move into the next question, you've worn a red bikini. Have you only worn a red bikini, or have you ever worn another color as well?
So I've done green, and then I've done blue, and now red.
Nice. What was your favorite? Do you know your favorite out of those?
Definitely the red. I feel like the red is so far. I think the shade of blue that I did was too intense. Almost like a bit too on the dark side. So maybe a different shade of blue might work better on me. But out of the three, red is definitely suited just my skin and hair and everything the best. So I've loved that one the most. Yeah.
So the red might stay. We might see it again.
Yeah. Oh, look, yes, I would say yes. But at the same time, I see all of the colors and then I get mesmerized and I'm like, oh my gosh, what about that one and this one? So I don't know,
Who knows? You've got options.
Yeah.
This or that question was a blue bikini or a purple bikini? If you had to pick one out of the two.
I would pick purple.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, I like purple, but like purple, but like that purple that's kind of got some blue in it as well. Like it's not like purple, So can I pick both?
Yeah, like a mixture. We want you to get I love it. What about leggings or booty shorts? What do you train in the most?
Right now, I live in booty shorts because it's warm. So it depends on the blooming climate. I just wear leggings in New Zealand because I don't like being cold.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, that's fair enough. I'm the same. And I'm not tanned enough to be wearing shorts around. I need to fake tan in the shorts.
There's that. 100%.
Upper or lower day?
Sorry?
Upper or lower body day?
Lower day, because it's so satisfying. But it's so freaking hard. So if I'm being lazy, then I'll say upper day because I'm like, I can just be on cruise control.
Yeah.
But lower, 100% lower. It's just good.
Yeah. We try to build, aren't we, in that area? So it's kind of like it's the one where we get the most out of it, right?
Yeah. You have to learn to love it, I suppose.
Yeah. It's always a lot
you have to convince yourself.
Yeah, I'm okay. I've got this. I'm crying on the way to the gym. So that's all the got out of that, but I also wanted to ask you about your posing. Do you have a posing coach, and who takes you through your posing? Because your posing is beautiful on stage.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. So this last year, I didn't have a posing coach. I just did my own. But before that, in 2020, I worked with Phoebe, like her online posing portal that she has, which was super cool. And I learned so much from her as well. And man, she's amazing to work with. Like, she's such a, what you see on video, like on YouTube and stuff with her, is exactly the same as what she would be talking normally. So friendly and so engaging and approachable and just understanding. So super, super cool chick. So I had a lot of fun working with her. And yeah, so I didn't sign up again this year. Which I should have, looking back at it, but I was just like, I'm fine. I'll just do
Yeah.
do this. So next year, yes, I'm definitely gonna be looking for a posing coach and just getting that second eye on it, because now looking back at the poses that I did on my shows, now I see the mistakes that I did. I'm like, oh man, how did I miss that? And it's just, it like grates at me now. So yeah, definitely gonna look at somebody for next year.
Yeah, nice. Did you get any feedback on your posing, or was it pretty good from the judges' point of view? Because it looked, I mean, I looked good from where I was sitting, but they're in the hot seat.
Yeah, no, that my posing was fine. Like, I didn't have anything that they were saying, to change about it. So I'm grateful for that. But like, I just know I can do it better.
And you want to take it next level. You want to look like you're coming for the pro card. You want to look like a pro, that kind of posing level, right? It's kind of like top.
Yeah, 100%, right? It's just different. They just flow,
Yeah.
And it's hard. It takes a lot of confidence.
Gosh, yeah. Like I was just walking out like I was on my way to the Sunday market. So I was terrified. Like, you need the confidence to be like the arch the back, stick the bum out. Like, it's like terrifying. Like a bunch of guys and a couple of women on the judging panel, and it's like, I'm sorry, I'm sticking my ass in your face, but it's what I'm supposed to be doing here. Like, it's very confronting, isn't it? But I'm sure
It is.
each time, I bet. But your posing looks great for doing it on your own. You should be stoked.
Oh man, I really appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. But yeah, definitely it can do a lot better. And that's something that I really want to focus on for this year, or next year. It's just to bring like that level that we were just talking about, like that upper, that flow where it's almost like dancing on stage. It's so smooth and just put together, and I really hope to be able to present something as beautiful as that. So we'll be working on that a lot. Like, I want to actually work on it even all through my off season, which is a hard thing to do, looking at yourself when you're not in prep, and like, it's very confronting. So you kind of have to, yeah, I don't know, I'm just gonna have to mentally get myself there.
Yeah, I think it's good to remind us, like, you obviously watch YouTube and watch Phoebe and stuff because you know about her videos, but like, they all do it. And I'm just like, if they can do it and then put it on Instagram, like put it on YouTube for millions of people, and they're like top 4 of 10 in the world or whatever, and then I can do it. Like, I can deal with my body off season if they can do it, that kind of mindset. But some people just go a little too far off season, I think. And then they're like, oh crap. Like, because I've heard that you don't need to like put on too much body fat to gain muscle, and it's just fact, so it's kind of like, I guess, a reminder to not go too far is by doing your posing and chickens like that. I reckon that would be a good motivator, just to be like, okay, we're going to stop it there. Like, we're gonna,
Yeah,
put the calories down. But it's just another reminder of where you're at, isn't it?
for sure. Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, if you're going to be brave and put that stuff out to the world as well, well, then that's definitely motivation, that you're like, okay, let's just stay on top of this.
Yeah, of course. Like, I like putting myself out there because I don't give a crap what anyone says about me, and I just like to share the beginner journey because I think that's fun to watch. I like to watch other people doing that. But yeah, a lot of people just don't enjoy the off-season process. But I came down from, I was almost 80 kilos, so I lost a lot of weight coming into this show. So going up a little bit doesn't bother me too much. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, oh, that's fine. I'm going back up to 80. So for me, it's a little bit more, I can deal with it a little bit easier, I suppose. But I think it's a lot for people to get their head around. But it's all part of the process. You have to be strong, don't you, to do this stuff. So you have to go through the on and off season. It's tricky.
Yeah, it is. But Listen, I just wanted to say, like, massive congrats on that effort. That is like, man, that is incredible effort. That is hard work, and that is amazing. Girl, seriously, well done. That is to show up the way you have. That is phenomenal. That's seriously, wow, man.
It's all right. Like I wasn't in condition, but I need to remind myself. I lost, like 25 kilos or something to get there. So it's kind of like, it doesn't matter where you start, as long as you start, and then you can learn, and then you get your feedback, and then it's all good. You just carry on the merry way as long as you enjoy it. This is like, it's just all go from there. So I'm hooked as well, just like you, I'm obsessed. So
Oh, yeah.
it's
Once
fun.
it's bitten you, yeah.
Once it's been you're over, you're infected, and it's time. But that's kind of all I had for you today, babe. It was great to get to know you a bit better, though.
Oh, look, thank you so, so much for having me. I had such a good time. It just felt like two girls having a big old girly chat, and this is so nice. So I really, really appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you for joining me. I hope everyone's entertained. We just had a good time, you and I, but hopefully everyone else enjoyed our chats as well. I'm sure they did.
Yeah.
And we'll look forward to maybe seeing you in the next year's season. We'll see how we go. There's no pressure or anything. We'll just see how it all happens. But it's going to be fun to see who turns up.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to it as well. And I'm looking forward to seeing you next year as well. Come on, girl.
Let's go.
If I'm going to do it, you're going to do it. So
yeah, we'll be back up there. Blonde's doing it all over again. My next show with you. I can't wait. And yeah, we'll see you then, babe. But otherwise, thanks everyone for tuning in, and we'll be talking to you soon. See you, honey. Bye.
see ya. Bye.